welcome to Tae Kwon Do Training. I'll be your instructor for today's show, Bob Lemire. What I'd like to do on today's show is something pretty easy. What we're going to do is work on some hand technique only, and we're going to work on knife hand and reverse knife hand. And they call reverse knife hand ridge hand sometimes, wherever or whatever school you go to, but a knife hand and a reverse knife hand. And these two techniques, they're very, very strong. And if you can put a hip jog with it, it can be lethal, and especially where you hit your opponent. And that's what martial arts is all about. Never mind having the technique. You have to hit your opponent in certain spots in the areas to make it count. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just a couple of nice hand techniques with a knife hand and reverse knife hand, and certain parts of the bodies where you want to strike. Okay, so the regular knife hand, okay, is, I've done this a lot on the shows. I've showed you this knife hand block and spare finger and knife hand. Tight, tight, tight with your fingers together, all right? And your thumb is pressing as tight as you can against, say, your index finger, right around that area. You got a little bend to your thumb, all right? It's not straight up. You got a bend and you're pressing. When you do this and you tighten everything what you're doing is tightening this muscle here, which will be doing the strike, okay? If not, your fingers are loose and that muscle's loose, and when you hit, everything's going to crash into each other or even break. So this way, your knife hand is nice and tight. And notice how I bent my middle finger and my other fingers follow a little. Not straight up. I got a little bend to it. Okay? That tightens the hand right up. Right? Now you have a weapon. All right, so knife hand. So many exercises we can do, and I'm just going to do a few of them. Just you'll understand what I'm saying. Well, say we start from here, and we'll do something that's something that you could use. So if someone was going to throw a punch or grab you here, what we do is we'll say a knife hand to the neck. Now, great thing about knife hand, you say, why would you use a knife hand? It's thin. See how it's thin like this? It gets in between your chin, all right, and maybe your shoulder, all right, and it can get into your neck. You hit someone in the neck with the knife hand, it's lethal, all right? You're going to hurt them bad, you could kill them. So this is something we play around with. This is self-defense for your life, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to practice this. One hand, this hand's up. The hand that's going to do a knife hand, say the right hand, it's going to be facing opposite until the last second of the strike. So very slow. See how I'm doing this? Right? So someone wants to grab you, you come down. You hit him there, anywhere in the head, but you hit him in the neck, you'll knock him out or do some damage. They're going to let you go. All right? That's what's great about that. One. All right? Look at one. All right? To your target. And then you practice. Now, as you practice that move, all right, see how basic it is. And we use this to break boards also. You got to watch it, though. And what you're hitting is with the meaty part of your hand right here. All right? Right here. You're trying to hit with that. You're not trying to hit with your fingers. You're not trying to hit with your wrist. Just the meaty part. All right? That's going to be nice and tough. And we break boards with that. You don't do it right when you're breaking boards or you're hitting someone. You can really hurt your wrist and you can hurt your fingers. So you practice slow. All right? So 1, 2. Look at. Now, notice, see my hip jog? That's a knife hand strike to the neck or at the head. Right? Same strike can be to the midsection. All right? Say the ribs or the floating ribs in the back. It's so concentrated and small that when you put a lot of power and you hit another small area, all right, all the power is generated, so that's what breaks bones. All right? And that's what stops your opponent. All right, so that's what we call knife hand strike. Right? Something we can practice from a horse riding stance, knife hand strike this way. Look, see how I'm crossing my hand? So opposite to the final. The beginning's here, the end's here. Okay, so you're not going. So we're not doing that. All right, we're going. So you practice that. You can do both sides, right? Always do both sides. Cross on top. So you're hitting to the side. Say you're hitting to the back, right? Turn. When you're gonna attack someone to the back or they're coming at you, you don't have to turn completely around. Okay? You don't have to go 180 with it. What you can do is 90 degrees. You can peripherally see both the opponents, or just see what's coming from behind you. See, I'm doing it the same way. Snap. Excuse me. When you attack, anyway with the knife hands, whether it's a reverse knife hand or a regular knife hand, you're never going to keep your elbow straight at the end. All right? It'll be too much pressure on that elbow if you keep doing it over and over. All right? So what you're going to do is have this light bend. All right? Light bend. This straight, and here's your bend. And you're saying, wow, you're stopping your power. You're not. Right? You can keep that power, bah, right? And you still have a nice little bend so that you're not hyperextending. Right? Because if you were to keep doing that, a lot of pressure, or if you were to throw that and someone kind of blocked, you snap your arm in half. So you got to think of this stuff, all right? It's kind of dangerous, even practicing with someone. So if they were to like throw a block by mistake or just throw a block, you hit your elbow here, what happens? But if it's bent, you're just going to hit your elbow. You're not going to snap it back. So you try to remember that. All right? So that's kind of easy. A couple of exercises here. You're going to fight. You're going to fight here. All right? Someone that throws a punch, you're coming in. It's kind of a close-in attack. You know, you throw a jab and then you come in midsection to the floating ribs or the side. Boy, you can break a rib like that. When you see tournaments or you see competition or tests, even things on TV, a lot of them break boards. You know, they'll break all kinds of boards and stuff. A lot of practice, and it's a powerful, powerful technique. Okay, so that's knife hand strike. Knife hand strike. Right. There you go. Right. Knife hand strike. Or if you're here, knife hand strike to the side, knife hand strike to the back. Right. And when it's a good technique to practice your hip jog. Look at boom, boom. Right. If you don't, this is what you get. You talk hip jog all the time, right? If there's no body movement. Body movement, your whole body has to be moving, all right? And you have to be in sync with your body. Takes a lot of practice, all right? So you're going to end up starting this way. No body movement. But try to get, it's almost like a whoosh, right? Pa, 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 pa. Right? You're in the direction, you're going in the direction of your attack. That adds the power so much more, all right? And at the last second, that's when you put all your power into your hand. So you're very loose. You're nice and loose until the last second, bah, you tighten up, right? Bah, last second. You're loose, loose, loose like you're throwing a baseball, all right? But at the last second, you tighten up when you're going to hit your opponent. As I say, anywhere to the head, anywhere to the neck, the throat, the clavicle, right? You can come down, knife hand this way, see, up, right? Up, bah, come down on the clavicle, break the clavicle, right? Or anything in the rib area causes a lot of damage, break bones. And that's just a simple knife hand strike. And you're keeping the same, you know, when you make this knife hand this way, we're using that same for spare finger. We're not going to get the spare finger tonight, but it's the same theory, same motion with your fingers, okay? Placement of your fingers. And you'll be, you know, a little bend. Now, what we have is a reverse knife hand. All right, that's a little more advanced, but we're going to work on that tonight. So knife hand presses up against, the knuckle of your index finger, tight. When you're doing a reverse knife hand, or say a crescent, in a crescent attack, you're going to take your thumb and push it way in so that you're hitting with the outside part. You're not pressing against it, you're in here. You're hiding the thumb completely. I've heard some, there's certain things on YouTube and stuff where people say in there, they're telling the students to hit with the thumb or hit with the back of the thumb. You're going to break your thumb. You're going to break things. You don't want to hit with your thumb. All right? You want to hide it. You're hitting with this little area right here. It's not much of an area. But, and I've tried this used to be one of my favorite techniques, reverse knife hand. The big balls, the big punching bags that you used to be able to put a quarter in at the beach to see how much power you could generate by your punches or whatever you were going to do. So I would put quarters in and do kicks, and I would do punches and elbows. I wanted to see what me and my friends would compete. And my most powerful technique for getting the high numbers was an inner crescent or a reverse knife hand coming in this way. All right, a ridge hand. I'm calling it inner crescent. Ridge hand, excuse me. Bah! Right? You come in, and I would snap my whole body. Bah! Now, knife hands this way to the neck. But if you're in a different position, see in Tae Kwon Do, we practice so that no matter what position we're in, if we're confronted with someone or two people, whatever the confrontation is, and whatever position we're in, we can throw something. So that's why there's so many different techniques, not just one or two techniques. All right. So no matter what angle you're at, you've got a weapon. And you just use that weapon. All right. The more you practice, the faster you get, the more powerful you get. All right. So again, someone grabs you here, come straight in. Instead of throwing a punch or doing other things, right? Come in right to the neck or to the temple. All right. And a lot of damage, does a lot of damage. You got to practice it, and you practice it with a bag, and you practice it easy to get the right spot where you're going to hit. Right? You hit all your fingers, you hurt your fingers, you hit your thumb, you could break your thumb. So your thumb should be completely hidden. Again, all right, your opposite until your final hit. Right? Up. Now, my elbow is still bent, especially with this one. Regular knife hand's one thing, right? Because you're almost going to be bent anyway. But this right here, if it's straight, completely straight, and you hit your target, you're going to damage a lot of your elbow and ligaments. And I can hear you at home going, boy, you can get hurt no matter what you do with the stuff you're showing tonight, and that's true. And you can get hurt with any kick, any punch. You don't do things right or practice slowly and practice the right way. Eventually you're going to break bones. You're going to break your fingers or your toes or your ankles, your wrists. So you have to pay attention, do it right. Don't say, I already know, because you never already know. You could be training for 45, 50 years. You break some bones here and there because you weren't paying attention. So you have to be always on top of your game. But this one right here, you have to have the bend of the elbow. Doesn't have to be bent this way. It's almost straight but bend. All right? And I as I think back, my son Jimmy was probably, 12, 13, and he was training with me. And as I say, we used to do those punching bags. You put a quarter in. And so I said, try this, Jim. And he did it complete straight arm. He was crying, and I got scared because I didn't know if we did any damage. He hit that as hard as he could with the straight arm, which means totally bent, it would bend it back. So if it's bent, it won't bend it back, right? And you're using your whole body to come in, all right? Your whole body to come in. There's your power, right? You're not using a snap with your arm. You're using your body to. And, you can come down on the clavicle, all to the head. You can come, right? You can come midsection. The floating ribs and the ribs around down here in the bottom are very weak. And even if you're a big bodybuilder and you got muscles, there's parts of your body that have weaknesses. And that's one part of them, your whole rib cage. You get hit in the rib cage and you break a floating rib. And the floating ribs are like this. They're not really connected at the two bottom ones, three bottom ones. So they're like this. They're hanging. You break them, and the pain is phenomenal. You have a hard time breathing and a hard time moving. So it's a favorite spot for a martial artist to want to go and get into competition, or if you have to, self-defense. You don't really want to hurt the person. You don't want to hit them in the head or whatever. You go into the rib cage. One crack of a rib, slightest crack, you're going to stop them dead. All right. And I know it sounds extreme, but we're talking self-defense. All right. And when you have to defend yourself, that means someone's going to harm you, and you don't want to be harmed. Then you have to make a move. All right. So reverse knife hand this way. Okay. Now we can do reverse knife hand the opposite way. All right. Okay. So we went this way. Right. Now we can go this way. So as I say, notice if I'm in any kind of position, all right, whatever position I'm in or whatever they have, my opponent uses to either grab me or whatever position where I should be able to throw some kind of attack. So if I'm here, attack. If I'm here, attack. All right? Here, attack. No matter where you are in position, your hand should be able to throw some kind of attack. And that's just a lot of practice, So reverse knife hand. All right? Look at it. We're fighting. To the neck. Right. Regular knife hand to the neck. Reverse knife hand to the neck. All right. Reverse knife hand again to the neck. So downward reverse knife hand, upward reverse knife hand, ridge hand, and a regular knife hand. Okay. And when you're going to practice, try to get some hip jog. All right, so you can practice a regular knife hand. Look at it. I'm on top. Ridge hand up. Look at it. See how I'm practicing? All right, so lift this up just a little. Lift that foot up and snap. And snap. All right? Snap. Right? So you practice a combination. Knife hand. Okay. You're here. Knife hand, high section. Pardon me. A lot of pollen out today. You're fighting here. You're fighting here. Knife hand. Now, if I threw a knife hand up here, try to hit the head. Whether I hit it or not, now I missed it. If I hit it, fine. If I missed it, their hands come up. They see that knife hand coming up. If I hit, right underneath, going for the rib cage. All right. Again, I'm telling you about that rib cage. It's weak. All right. You hit your rib cage in the back. And I've broken, for fighting so many years, I've broken ribs. And I won't even say break, just a slight fracture, a hairline fracture. It don't matter. The pain is phenomenal. It'll stop you dead, and you don't want to move. You don't want to breathe. All right, can't sleep at night, and it lasts for a week or so. And there's really not much they can do unless you're really disturbed. They're not going to put a big cast on you. You're on your own. You might be able to put a wrap or something, but I never did. I just let it settle and heal by itself. But that's what this is great for. All right, it's for going in for those floating ribs. All right, and like I say, the floating ribs are in the back here. All right, but you still have all these ribs in the front. You go into them, you hit one of them hard, you hit it again. All right, so it's knife hand here, then down. All right, or low section knife hand, to the ribs, then high section. Okay? Knife hand, down. Right? See how I'm coming down when I come down? And notice again, whatever knife hand I'm using, reverse knife hand or regular knife hand, I start with one, my hand is in one placement, and it's in the opposite, right? It's in the opposite at the end. All right? And by doing that, you ride it to the end. You ride it to the end. All right? And that's where your hip jog is snapping at the end. So all the power generates from your hip, from your feet, your legs, your hip, up your body. So you're not doing this. See, it's hard for me to even do this when I'm showing you. It hurts me to do it because my body doesn't want, my body wants to snap into it. My body wants to just spin right into it, right? Make that, that hip jog. And if I don't, I can feel myself just using my arm muscles. Where if I'm using my whole body, I'm just letting it flow right through up to my arm. So it's not just my arm and my hand doing the attack. It's my whole body throwing it in one direction. And that's a hip jog, and knife hand is a good snap, snap, snap. Snap, 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 snap. You can just practice knife hands. Notice, keep your elbows bent. Right? You hit the neck here. It's so weak. And as again, big bodybuilders, big strong neck, it's still weak. You got veins, you got arteries, you got all kinds of things happening in your neck. You got your whole throat, okay? Your Adam's apple. You got to breathe. You get hit in that area with this. And see, this goes straight underneath. A knife hand goes straight underneath, all right? Punches will deflect, but this technique goes right at it. Take your finger, as you're watching this, take your finger and just poke anywhere on your neck, all right? Poke on the side here, lightly, all right? You can feel the pain. And that's just a light touch. What happens if someone comes at it, boom, knocks you out, all right? It'll knock you right out. And it could kill you, all right? Get hit in the throat here, you could dislodge your whole, you wouldn't be able to breathe. Your Adam's apple, everything would just, right? So that is the last, this person better be ready to kill you for you to start throwing this technique at them so that you stop them, because you will stop them, all right? So once again, knife hand, tight, because we're almost done. Tight, knife hand, all right? Going to hit with this part, right? Pretty easy, that's easy. And you can feel it. If you keep your hand loose, it's all mushy, everything's mushy. But if you tighten it, you just got yourself a weapon. You got an axe, you got a spear, all right? And it's tight. Press that thumb up against it, so that'll even make the muscle right here tighter, all right? When you're doing reverse knife hand, the thumb comes in. Out here for a knife hand, reverse knife hand comes in here. You have to practice on just hitting this little bone where your knuckle is, all right? Just hitting that little bone right there. You're not hitting with your hand, your fingers, and you're not hitting with your thumb. So it's a little advanced, all right, especially if you're breaking boards. But as I say, the position that you're in at any point, all right, somebody grabs you, come in, right? You come in. And it don't take much. A little touch, little touch. Actually, you take your fingers or your thumb or whatever, touch most parts of your body, and you're going to say, wow, if I press it a little harder, it hurts. Right? Now, the vulnerable spots of your body, your eyes, your nose, your jaw, your temple, your ears. All right? If I did a knife hit you in the ear, I could blow your eardrum out. All right? If I hit you hard enough, reverse knife hand into the ear. All right? The head is vulnerable. And what do I say? Keep your hands up. So if they do come in, all you do is this. Look at your hands are already up. Right? Kick. But if they're down here and someone's fast, they're going to hit you in the most vulnerable spot, and that lights are out. All right, so you're constantly hands up. Even if you're on the streets and all of a sudden you're being confronted and you're not sure what's going on, keep your hands up here. Say, can I help you? Can I help? If they're up here, you don't have to make it, just say, we have a problem. Can I help you? Your hands are here. So they do come up, you block. Look, from here, I can come down and go up. Right? And all you have to do is this, and then you deflect a punch. Punch can't get through. Right? All of a sudden, you see the punch, and you tighten it up. It's going to stop the punch. If it don't stop the punch, it's going to deflect it a little, or it's going to slow it down. And the minute someone throws the punch, you counter. Right? That's the thing. To counter, the minute someone throws whatever they're going to throw and you can block it, you have to counter before they double up or counter on their own attack on you, That's about all the time we have tonight. So it was an easy class. We didn't get much craziness done, but you still want to stretch before you start. You start doing these moves and you can really strain a muscle or, pop something. So loosen up. It's kind of easy. You do something like this, especially if it's a cold day, you want to loosen up, all right? Get your hip, all right? Going to do any kicks and stuff, constantly stretch those legs and warm them up. It'll avoid a lot of injury down the road. That's all the time we have tonight. Till next time, have fun, train hard.